Well, hey, I'm actually really grateful today for Haley Marketing for putting this on. I'm a big fan of the Smart Ideas Summit. It's great to see this event every single year, and the content they bring is really special. And I truly am proud to be involved this year and actually helping you learn how do you move from being a commodity supplier to becoming a valued partner. Because right now we're facing some really unprecedented sales resistance in the marketplace, and it's getting hard. And it's actually a very different time. It's not like prior recessions. Right now we have immense demand, but there is a slowing of the market. There's still uncertain economic indicators. Companies are kind of slowing down, and ultimately what's happened is our market has become over commoditized. And clients still have a need for people. They still have a need for outsourcing their recruiting and their staffing. But because we're over commoditized, it's becoming more confusing for them to make buying decisions, and it's actually becoming riskier for them to make buying decisions. So I'm going to talk to you today about a framework that I use to really position as a valued partner versus just being a commodity supplier. And it's going to help you differentiate your staffing agency through value selling. And ultimately, the harsh truth when it comes to, value is if you don't know the true value that your agency offers, neither do your clients. And that's really why you won't be considered a valuable partner. If you look and feel the same as everybody else, like you're commoditizing yourself. And we're going to dispel this today and teach you how to get out of the commodity trap. David did introduce me for those that don't know me. Again, Dan Morey, I'm a staffing executive advisor to the industry. I really encourage you to connect with me on LinkedIn if you'd like to learn more about what we discussed today or about the National Independent Staffing Association or the upcoming Staffing Sales Summit. Please connect with me on LinkedIn. I would love to have you in my network and chat further. But as we get into the difference between being a commodity and being a valued partner, I think we really have to understand what this looks like from the buyer's perspective. Because as staffing agency owners and leaders, we're all very proud about the services we offer and we tout the value that we have. And sometimes we're very frustrated when our clients don't see the value we offer or don't appreciate the value that we offer. And it becomes this crazy dynamic where we often hear things like, oh, we need you to reduce your price, or we haven't budgeted for that rate increase that you're asking me for, or we're going to be bringing in this other supplier, or we're bringing in an MSP. Like you'll hear these things like that. And typically those are just kind of flags or red flags that say they view you as a commodity. Okay. No good company wants to dispel or put at jeopardy the relationship of a valued partner. So when we're thinking about the distinction between a partner and a commodity, it really lies in the value that's delivered. And more importantly, the alignment of that value with your client's market strategy. So what I mean by this is that a commodity supplier, they really support a function within the client's organization, right? Without really integrating into their core objectives. Now, a valued partner, they provide a strategically valuable service or resource that's aligned with the client's broader organizational goals, right? So if you really want to start to differentiate to that partner phase, you have to understand the value that you provide and really the value that your client is trying to provide to their customers, right? Because that's really where that alignment comes into play. Now, I'm trying to keep an eye on the chat over here. So when we're looking at this right here, I want to give kind of an example and think about something like a laptop, something that we all use, laptop, tablets, and when you're shopping for a laptop and if you're not in IT or you're not a technologist like myself, meaning I'm not a technologist, your head can spin at all of the different things that you're looking at when comparing it. But think about the laptop itself. They're selling it to you. They're trying to convey a value to you, so you choose their laptop. When you're looking on that page and you're thinking, hey, I need speed, or I need graphics resolution, or I need memory, like you're thinking of all those things, sometimes the products within the laptop are marketed as valuable, right? Like the chip manufacturer, like, hey, this has Intel and it's this level of chip, or the new iPhone has this new advanced chip. And they're actually talking about something that provides value to the end user. But you're not going to hear, hey, this is the plastic molding company that we get our shells from, right? because that would be a commodity supplier. That's not really, they could pick anybody to do that. So that kind of gives you an idea of how you align your value that you provide with the value that your client wants to provide to its end customer. So, but as we're looking at that, something that I really want to stress is where the three value drivers are. So when we're talking about value selling or providing value to our clients, or trying to understand what value they provide to their customers, there's really primarily only three value drivers. And every single person out there, when they are looking at buying anything, they're really valuing it through these three things. And they prioritize them differently depending on what they're purchasing. And those are quality, price, speed, and convenience, right? So when you're looking at the quality of something, you say, hey, I'm willing to pay a little bit more because I want quality. I need a quality item. I need something that's going to last. Whatever it might be, you need higher quality, and you understand that that might come at a premium price. Or maybe you don't really need quality. Maybe you just need kind of the thing and you need it to be cheap, right? And you just really, you're focused on cost. So price might be your top driver. Or maybe it's like, you know what? Quality is important, price is important, but really what's most important is that I get it right now, right? Like speed or convenience. Like if you've ever paid more for shipping to get it 2 days or 1 day sooner, right? That means you prioritize speed or convenience over price in that example. And when I try to break this down, when I'm training companies on this, one of my favorite examples is if you were going to furnish your own house with furniture, you might prioritize quality. However, if you were going to furnish an Airbnb that you were renting out to make some side money, you might actually prioritize price, or maybe even speed or convenience if you needed to get something replaced quickly or something staged quickly. So depending on the application of what you're going for, you're going to prioritize these things differently, and so don't your customers, right? So every client's going to prioritize one or two of these kind of based on the value that they're trying to provide to their customers. So if they're typically like a low margin industry, they tend to prioritize price and speed, where they're trying to focus on efficiency and cost control to really maintain their own margins, right? Whereas if you have a higher margin industry or somebody that maybe is a niche industry, or they provide a quality service or product, they might actually prioritize quality and understanding that, hey, I need the best people to produce this product or service so I can actually sell it as a premium product or service to my customer. And when you have misalignment between the value you offer and sell and what the client is really needing from you, what will happen is they'll treat you like a commodity, but they will try to manage you, and they will try to form fit you into what is actually going to fit their value offering or their value prop to their customers. So if they need speed and they need low price to maintain their model to their customers, and you came in and said, hey, we're a quality provider, we're going to give you better temporary employees, better contractors, whatever it might be, you'll notice that they're always going to be trying to negotiate you down. They're always going to be pushing downward pressure because they're going to be trying to fit you into the value that they really need out of it. And this misalignment can actually be identified early in the relationship building process and the sales building process. So one other thing I'll mention about this, about kind of commodity versus partners, commodities tend to be a little bit more transactional and viewed as transactional, whereas partnerships tend to be more relational. So if you really want to be focusing on building that value partnership, overemphasize the relationship and building strong relationships. The next thing I want to talk about is really the path that you need to take as an agency to become a valued partner. Okay. The first part of this equation is knowing your own true value. What are you really, really good at, right? What are you good at delivering to your clients? Maybe you're amazing at speed. Maybe your time to fill is the best in the industry, right? Maybe your quality is the best in the industry. Maybe your convenience. Maybe you're a platform staffing agency and you really make it super easy to get talent and you can go fast. Maybe you're so efficient with your technology and your workflows that you can actually be more competitive in your pricing. Like that's the first part, is understanding what your value is, and then digging deeper in the sales discovery process to understand what does your customer view is value that they're looking to supply to their end customer, right? So you have to understand how they're delivering their product or service and the value that they're trying to pass along and how you fit into it, right? And one thing it's a roadblock, especially in the sales discovery process, is a lot of companies will say things like, well, people are our most valuable asset. And when an untrained salesperson hears that, they tend to think, oh, wow, this is a quality play. Like they really are looking for quality. So I'm going to be selling them quality service. I hate to say it, probably the majority of companies that actually put that stuff on their website or on their boardroom wall, or they kind of just tout it out, uh, they don't follow through on it. And if you've been in this industry as long as I have, you've seen those companies that they'll say that, but then they pay at the bottom of market, or they'll say it and then they treat their employees terribly, or they don't provide a great working environment. And so what happens is if you believe that they're really focusing on investing in their talent and they want quality, and you try to provide quality in that, and you send a quality person into a lower than market pay rate or a not very good environment, you are going to be churning those people out quickly, and it's going to be a mismatch. And then you're going to be viewed as somebody that cannot deliver on the quality that you're talking about. Now, here's another example I want to share in the sales discovery process, and I'm going to go a little bit deeper into this in just a few slides here. But one challenge that salespeople, especially untrained salespeople, will hear is they look for phrases like, we have high turnover, and they see that as a problem that they want to solve. And usually the defense to high turnover is quality. Hey, if we got you a better quality employee, with a better, credentials, better background, better training, better skills, better experience, whatever it might be, then they're going to last longer. And we try to solve that problem because that's sort of what we're conditioned to do. However, I'm going to tell you, and this might be the only gold nugget you get out of my session here, so write this down. If you hear that, you have to still dig through that and think that this might be the problem to solve, or it might actually just be an acceptable byproduct of their business model. If they're really focused on being the low-priced provider of a product or service in their own industry, or maybe the fastest convenient provider of a product or service in their industry to their customers, and they intentionally pay at the bottom of the market, or they intentionally don't have kind of state-of-the-art workplace or the best workplace because they're not making those investments, and they just realize that, hey, high turnover is going to be a cost of doing business, but it is a less expensive cost than having to raise our prices or compress our margins or lose customers because we cannot change the value proposition that we're delivering. So what will happen is you might go in and try to solve the attrition thing with a quality play or quality positioning, but in reality, a better alignment for that customer might just say, hey, let's forget about quality. You pay at a level that you clearly just need someone to be here doing this thing, maybe loading the box with whatever your product is or running this machine. Low skill, entry level. Let's get the quality metrics out of the way, and let's just talk about how do I get you a person as fast and cheap as possible. And sometimes that might sound counterintuitive to a salesperson because you feel like a little cringe because you almost feel like you're devaluing your own agency. But in reality, you're actually providing the value that customer wants. And if you happen to be really good at doing that, then you're hitting them where they are. And that right there will be seen as a valued partner because now you're aligning with their core deliverable. You're not just supporting a function of their company. So hoping that piece makes sense. Next thing you're probably wondering is like, Dan, that all sounds good, but like, how do you do this? Like, how do you really go from being a commodity to being a partner outside of maybe just asking a few extra questions in the sales process? And I'm going to walk you through a framework with really the last 10 or so minutes I have left. There's going to be a number of slides to get through. I will say if you want to go even deeper on this, there is a supplemental PDF that has even more detail on these slides that you can get at the end. So here's the framework. This is where it starts. We're going to walk you through front to back on how to position your company to become a valued partner. And I'm going to show how it all ties to increasing sales and revenue on each slide. First part, I call it marketing alignment. And this is really clarifying and communicating your value. This is where you need to look internally. Look in the mirror and define what your value proposition really is. What are you really good at doing? And it's okay to not be good at one or two of these three, right? Like just be great at the thing that you're good at, and then go find those customers that want that and forget about the rest. Life will be easier and less stressful for you. So, look for the primary value your agency provides. Is it quality? Is it speed, convenience? Is it price? And then you really want to make sure that you can take that and then start to refine it into a message and get very clear in your messaging on what differentiates your agency from competitors based on the value that you provide. And let's just say it happens to be in the price and speed, right? Let's say those two, work together and you're like, I'm really good at this. I'm not so great at the quality piece. You can start to say, hey, we will get you people faster and cheaper than anybody else. And just lean into that and just be that for the industry, right? When you're thinking about, how do I really identify this? There's a couple great examples that I think of. McDonald's, they do not make the best hamburger out there, right? But that was never their value proposition, right? They basically said, hey, you can get this really cheap. When they started their value prop, when they hit the market, it was all about, we're going to sell you a hamburger for less than $1 and you're going to order it. And literally it's going to be ready for you when you pull around the building, right? Speed, convenience, price. That was their value proposition. And that's why they scaled. And that's why they sell more hamburgers than most other companies in the world, is because that value prop was really aligned with what the market wanted. And now that you see that prices are going up and they can no longer really sell or deliver on that the low price piece of it, they're struggling. There's a bit of a crisis going on. Like, who are they? Because now you're paying so much at McDonald's that you could actually probably go get a good hamburger. So now they have to figure that piece out. The other one is Walmart. They're all about, we're going to give you everything and we're going to do it as cheap as possible. Not many people go to Walmart for high quality items, right? You kind of just, I don't know if it's like me, but when I go there, like, I'm not expecting the highest quality thing. I'm expecting availability because they've got typically good inventory, and I'm expecting a really good price, right? And that's why Walmart has scaled the way it is, because they have a very clear messaging to their audience. And I know some people are like, well, I don't really want to be the Walmart of staffing. Like, I want to be known for quality. I want to be really, you know what? It doesn't suck to be Walmart, right? Walmart, by and large, are kind of doing okay. So once you really understand what your value proposition is, you need to tailor the marketing to your client needs. And this will help you cut through the noise and really work with clients that align with your value proposition, because some of them will self-select. They will see your marketing and they'll say, okay, this is the type of company that provides what I'm looking for. And that's half the battle. And then once you do this, you need to audit all of your marketing channels. If you're doing social media, what does your messaging look like? If you're doing print collateral, what are you saying to really convey that marketing? And how this sets up, this is going to sort your market before sales even gets involved. So they're going to be dealing with a better qualified lead base. And it's also going to give them better collateral when they're actually pitching to the customers about what your value really is. And once they understand the messaging of the deliverable, they're going to know what questions they need to ask to really find that alignment during the discovery process. So this right here, this step will make your sales more efficient and your sales cycles shorter. Onto the sales cycle. Here is where we're going to talk about discovering and aligning with the client value drivers. You really need to develop a value discovery process, not just a pain point process and say, hey, what are your business challenges? Like, that's important because that's sort of what you're solving for, but the how to solve it needs to be aligned with the value that they want you to solve it in, right? So you need to be training your sales team to ask probing questions that uncover a client's value drivers. Like, what's most important to your success, speed, quality, or price? And really dig into that. Find out how they operate their company. If you start to learn how they operate, you're going to be seen more like a relational partner versus a transactional commodity supplier, right? And then you're going to customize your pitch to that. If you realize that you're working with a company that focuses on price and speed, you're not going to sell them quality. You're going to pitch them and walk through how your solution can align with them on price and speed. If you are working with a prospect that prioritizes quality over all else, you're not going to pitch them price and speed, because they might think that if you do it cheap, you might not do it good enough. Or if you do it too fast, you might not be getting the best person. There's companies out there that would rather pay more for the right person, not the right now person, right? So you have to customize that pitch to align that value. And then you have to structure your sales conversations throughout this to really build the relationships in there. And that's really where you're going to be focusing on understanding the client's business, their goals, not just filling the open positions like in a transactional matter. So this right here will create, again, shorter sales cycles, better aligned clients, and you will be able to, if you align this value, your clients will pay more for it, right? Because they get more value out of it. This right here is the silver bullet. If you want to increase your sales, increase your service delivery, there's just no better tool out there for increasing sales than just being really good at what you do. And that starts with really customizing your service delivery based on the value that you're good at. If you are really good at being low cost, be great at doing low cost and just provide the lowest cost service and be amazing at it. and just build your business and your service delivery model in a way to have healthy margins and healthy profits in doing so, and go sell that service to the clients. If it's quality, it's quality. If it's speed, convenience, a technology play, whatever it is, like lean all into that and customize that service delivery, and then train your internal teams so they know how to deliver this, right? If you are speed focused, have those processes in place for rapid recruitment and placement, using kind of technology and automation as much as possible. Quality focus, focus on implementing through vetting and selection process and ensure top tier candidates that align with your brand's reputation. So this is a slower process, but it's going to deliver better value. And you can communicate these things through the sales process. And as long as your internal team knows what they're working on and they lean into this, you're going to have a more consistent product that is valuable to your clients. Ongoing client engagement, you want to reinforce the partnership. This is where you're going to be scheduling regular business reviews to report on how you did. You're going to provide insights and recommendations, and you're going to foster long-term relationships. You can share and say, hey, we're focused on a quality relationship. Here's our metrics that we set for ourselves that we wanted to hit. Maybe it's, refill rates or first-time fill rates or, temp to hire conversion rates, whatever would indicate a quality placement. If it's a speed, time to fill, job order fill percentage, things like that, might be your metrics, report on it. And then you'll say, hey, this is what we wanted to happen. This is what actually happened. This is what went well that we're going to sustain. And here's some areas that we want to improve. Here's some insights and observations we made about you that we'd like to share to help us get better in this process. And now you're acting like a partner. Internal alignment. This one is so huge as a leaders. You have to be auditing your internal processes to make sure that every one of your processes supports the value that you're delivering to your customers. Ensure your recruiting, your pricing, fulfillment processes, they're built all around the value drivers that you've identified for your client base, right? And adjust pricing and service offerings based on if it's quality, if it's price, if it's speed, convenience, if it's a combination in there, right? Like it's okay to charge more if it's a quality value alignment, right? Do not short sell those services. Do not sell those at bargain pricing. Stand by quality and charge for quality. If it is a speed play, say, hey, I'm going to charge you this low price and you're going to get this speed, but quality's off the table. We're not going to measure our performance based on quality metrics, right? Because that's not what they're buying. And it's okay to do that and always be internally auditing your own process and your value drivers so you're completely aligned. And really the last step here is that feedback loop, kind of a Kaizen or continuous improvement approach. Make sure that you're collecting feedback regularly. If you are promising quality to your customers, make sure that you're saying, hey, how am I doing, right? And get that feedback and then refine your approach based on what they're telling you. And then just keep changing your marketing, your value prop, your sales, and just keep going around that loop. And you'll start to be positioned as that value partner and you'll be moved out of the commodity zone.